Hello and welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18. That's Public Access TV. My name's Dirk Keller. We got Bob Boyd back. We've got Earl Murphy back. We got a very special guest here today. John Balmer is here, one of the first panelists on Sports Opinion, which started at least 25 years ago. We're not even sure how long ago it was. Could have been 50 years ago.
First cable access TV show, wasn't it, Murph?
I don't think it was the first, but it's certainly the longest running local public access TV show.
John Balmer's going to tell us.
Yeah,
John.
John, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been a while.
It's great to be back.
We brought John on to, among other things, talk about longtime local City High supporter Jim Sangster, who died earlier this week, and we're also going to talk about another local legend, Father Bob Holzhammer. Passed away yesterday. He was the PA voice for the Hawkeye football and basketball games, long-time PA voice, and a friend of all of us. But before we do that, we thought we might do a little recap on the Hawkeye men's and women's basketball experience last week, as well as the Hawkeye wrestlers. I guess the way to sum it up best would be it was the best of times, and it was the worst of times for the men. They had a great game against Davidson.
Sure did.
And probably the best game of the season.
Yes.
They won by over 30 points.
Dominated.
That's amazing.
It was just so much fun to watch that game. So fulfilling.
Oh, yeah. They played a great game.
Aaron White had just another outstanding game. As a senior, he rose to the occasion like seniors are supposed to do. And Gabe Olashaney also had a very strong presence, another senior on the team. We never did see Jared Oglesby really loosen up this year, last year, and a year.
Josh had a kind of a...
Josh Oglesby, not Jared.
But, overall, it was, I think, a very successful season and certainly a much better ending than last year, for example. I mean,
Yep.
these kids really put it together when they needed to toward the end of the season.
Yeah.
I thought that Gonzaga had a good team.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Well, you know, the difference, last year the Hawkeye men's basketball team lost 7 of their last 8 games. This year, before they played Gonzaga on Sunday night, they won 7 of their last 8 games.
Yeah.
Night and day difference, the best of times.
Well, and even losing to Gonzaga, which, as Murph said, is an excellent team with great balance. I mean, you know, that team shot 61+% from the floor, 65% from three-point. I mean, they're going to beat anybody that night.
They've got total package, I
They
think.
do.
Inside out. And Mark Few, their coach, has just done an unbelievable job over the years there.
Yeah.
You know, everybody said, oh, he'll leave someday. He's found a very nice niche out there on the West Coast.
You know, they've been to 17 straight NCAA.
Is that right?
Yeah.
17
And I think
straight.
he's been there maybe, he was an assistant, I think, there, but he's been there for all of those. Maybe not as head coach, maybe 15 or 16 as head coach.
Didn't
but-
he succeed Dan Munson, who then
Yes.
came to, went to Minnesota and kind of flamed out at Minnesota?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
Oh, I forgot about that. Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, you know, it's funny because Gonzaga used to be a Cinderella team.
Yes, yes.
It wasn't that long ago.
Exactly.
They would upset somebody in the NCAA tournament and make it further than anyone thought. And now they're a perennial power.
Yeah.
But, you know, they hadn't been to the Sweet 16 since '09.
Is that right?
So as good as their teams have been, they've been kind of one and done a lot of seasons, but with a great record. But
Yeah.
that can happen to a lot of teams. I mean,
Well,
get the NCAA.
We won one game.
Yes, we did.
That's right.
First one since '01.
Isn't that something?
That's
The
amazing.
first.
It is. It's hard to believe, really.
It is.
I was stunned when I learned
Us
that.
too. I wouldn't realize
Well,
it
you know
worked.
why? Because
Years.
remember those teams we had with Horner and Herliska and Bruner?
Yeah.
Those are a couple of really good teams. Was it Northeastern that threw it from out of
Northwestern
bounds and
State.
beat us? And
Yeah. Northwestern
we were a
State.
3 seed, and that was like
They were
whatever, 06 or something.
Yeah, oh, that was hard.
We were up, what, 15 points?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we lost the feed for the game. if you remember,
Oh, is that true?
nobody here in Iowa could see the game.
That's right.
And they came back with about, I don't know, 5 minutes to go, and we're up 5, and we're going, what the heck happened? And then the big 3-point shot from the corner, I can still see it.
He was falling out of bounds, wasn't he?
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
When he threw it up.
And I think we can all remember where we were at that very moment.
Yes.
It was like when JFK got shot.
Yeah.
We'll never forget.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was watching that game with a client in his home, his very elaborate home.
Did you throw anything?
No, but when it was over, when the kid made the shot, my client looked at me and said, "You look like you just saw a ghost." He said, "All the color just drained down on my face."
Yeah. to understand.
I just kind of sat there stunned.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of fans.
The one I remember more than any was the Las Vegas loss
Yeah.
in '87. But
Yeah.
That was
some of us will remember 1970
Yeah.
when we got beat by Jacksonville on a
Jacksonville,
tip
yeah.
in. That was a big shock there. That was maybe the best team we ever had, in my opinion.
I think it truly ranks up there because I think Ralph
Yeah.
Miller thought at the time that he had a Final Four team that could beat UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And truly, when that kid launched that shot, everybody thought, "Great, that thing's just a wild shot." And then it just bounces off into Pembroke Burrows a third, boom, and he stuffed it through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll never forget that name. Well, and Artis Gilmore.
Artis Gilmore.
Which one of those guys after that was a 7-foot highway patrolman?
Burroughs.
Burrows in
Ed
Florida.
Burroughs.
How'd
Could you
like-
imagine that
How'd
coming
you
up
like
to
to
your
come up
car?
on? Yeah, that'd be pretty daunting.
White or black?
Oh, he's black.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
He's a tall,
7 foot,
great
7
big
foot
man.
long. Yeah.
He was imposing.
Yeah. And then you never heard about Jacksonville again after
No,
No.
that was it. That really was.
They're
a
one
good
and
point,
only.
Dirk.
Yeah. Well, again, the Hawkeyes had a very good progressive year, especially
Yes.
when you look back at how last year ended. And I got to be honest, after the way last year ended, I was doubting that this year's team, without Devin Marble, could do better, and they
I
did.
think a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
They did.
I
They
think
did
I don't
really
think you're
well.
alone in
Yeah.
that one.
And I think what we found out is they did better without Devin Marble because he wasn't there.
Yes.
No crack on
No,
Devin
no,
Marble,
no.
but they relied on him offensively.
That's right. Exactly.
Well, now moving forward, you've got, if you think about the last 3 or 4 seasons, we had Matt Gatens,
He was.
then we had Devin Marble, and then we had Aaron White, and a combination of all of those playing together earlier on. But next year, it's going to be Utah carrying the banner, I think, and
You got 4 or 5 starters back,
Woodbury and Giselle Clemens.
and we're going to need those seniors
Yeah.
to step up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Just like Aaron White did, just like I think Gabe Olashaney stepped up big time this year.
Yes,
There were some games where he
definitely.
was the difference, and to have him come off the
Definitely, yeah.
bench,
The last game
Wow.
he played fair.
yeah.
he was intimidating. It'd be nice if he had another year, if he could have redshirted.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's such a raw talent. I think you're right.
That's
Dirk.
right.
I think his upside is really huge.
I don't think he's going to play in the NBA, but you never know. I do think
Europe would be.
he'll
Europe,
have
for
a
sure.
tremendous career in Europe.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Well, and he's comfortable there. He's from England.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be the best fit for him anyway.
Is he from London?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? It's interesting, too, who they've recruited for next year. You've got now 5 guys that would be considered wingmen between 6'5" and 6'7", and they're going to be playing the 2, 3, and 4 positions. So
We got
that's a bunch of guys in those slots.
Sure is.
every team that is good has a guard, the feeder.
A point guard.
Point
Yes,
guard.
a
Yeah.
point
Right.
guard.
The guy who makes things happen, the guy
That's
that
right.
stirs the drink.
Yep.
Well, that'll be their emphasis moving into the 2015 class they're going to sign next fall. They need a big man and they need a point guard.
Yeah. And there's still one more scholarship to give. It sounds like it's going to go to a kid who grew up in northern Iowa, northeastern Iowa. His last name is Jones, I believe. And he is at Tyler Community College down in Texas.
Oh really?
He's not a big man. He's not going to replace Gabe Olashaney, but
Right.
he's the kind of guy that can step in right away and play. He's about 6'9", handles the ball well, but he plays the perimeter mostly, kind of like Aaron White. well, more like Utah, I guess.
So they're going to use that scholarship on him?
Well, that's the word.
Yeah.
It sounds like we've offered and we're leading. He's kind of blown up this year, as they say. He, coming out of high school, he wasn't nearly as tall. He wasn't nearly as productive. And so he went to junior college. And since then, he's grown quite a bit. And this year, really upped his scoring. And so,
Okay.
we'll see.
Yeah.
France still got one more. It's a big recruiting class.
What about the kid from Decatur they just signed last week?
Decatur St.
Christian?
Teresa, small little Catholic school. I guess this kid's the real deal, and the closest thing we have coming in to a point guard. His name is Christian something. I forget his last
He
name.
was all state first team in 2A over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's a point guard then, huh?
Well,
He's a Catholic. He has to be good.
I don't think
Yeah.
he's. I,
Well, if not, he can leave the prayers before the
I'm
game.
pretty sure he's not Catholic.
Oh, I thought he was.
No, I'm pretty sure he's not.
He was recruited,
Catholic.
recruited by the Catholics.
He's
That's
got a. This,
That's right.
That's right. He went to St. Teresa.
well, here's the funny thing about him. He was set to go to. I want to say Springfield Landfair. Springfield and Decatur are only about 30 miles apart.
Oh, okay.
That's back in my neck of the woods where I grew up. And he enrolled, I believe, at Springfield Landfair, which is where Eddie Horton and Kevin Gamble
Yeah.
went. Pretty decent basketball tradition at that school. And I don't know what happened, but he started this school year there. And there was some issue with how he ended up there. He was living with a host family. And the state of Illinois, or the IHSA, said no. So he moved back to Decatur
Okay.
and enrolled at Decatur St. Teresa. Again, small school.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
And they had a great year, and he had a great senior year. And he kind of was a late maturing
Okay.
talent. I guess he's a really good kid, really quiet, hard to get a read on his emotions, and often he's been accused of lacking effort when really it wasn't the lack of effort, but the lack of expression. Very coachable, 6'4", and he can play point guard. It wasn't his true position in high school. Christian, God, I can't think of his last name now.
And is Fleming, the kid that's coming from out, is he a point guard or is he a
No,
two guard?
we really don't have any point guards in this class.
But
And-
you know, this is an interesting recruiting class, really, I think, coming in.
Yeah.
I think
It's a big class.
That has to improve. And he plays the center from I think from Dubuque.
Woodbury?
Yeah.
Well, he does. He's, like I said, let's hope that he steps up his senior year.
Senior year is, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Well, he's got to come to the fore. You know,
Boy, you tell
we
him.
need a wide body too. We don't have it. You know, those.
Yeah.
So many of those teams have such wide.
Gonzaga.
Yeah, I mean somebody
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
That big man for Gonzaga
7 foot,
pushed Woodbury
300
all
pounds.
over.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And you know, Michigan State always has one of those.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That's right.
Players, and it's
We
just,
need an Eddie Horton badass.
there you go. Yeah.
There you
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, boy, and he didn't. He was 6'7", but he was wide.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And he knew how to use his hips.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
That's
He could
a
rebound.
bit of a fine art that kids
True.
don't naturally have. Eddie could get you on his hip, and you weren't going anywhere near that ball
That's
for a
right.
rebound.
And Evans, the guy that was in
Reggie Evans, there's
another
Reggie
one.
Evans,
Yes.
He was another one like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, we don't have any of those in this recruiting class, but we've got a lot of
Yeah.
long, lean
Yes.
guys that Fran likes to recruit.
Those, yeah.
Again, a lot of
Yeah.
Utah
And he's a good recruiter.
players, marble type players.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a good recruiter.
Fran,
Yeah.
yeah, and
It's good quality character.
he's got good assistant coaches too.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, but he's the
Excellent.
last guy to talk to.
Yep.
They work hard, those assistants, boy, I'll tell
Those
you.
three, I think, are some of the top assistants in the
Yeah.
country as a group. I would say.
I
Got
really
a
like
good
him.
coaching crew there.
Yeah.
Well, and we're fortunate. We get to hear him speak on Mondays, and we've always been impressed with them.
Yeah.
So, again, in hindsight, it was a year of growth and improvement, and I can't say I was crushed or disappointed Sunday night when they got blown
No,
out. It made it real easy to go to bed, and not be all have the heart rate going and
right.
the adrenaline
All
flowing,
amped up,
you know,
yeah.
because
You know,
some nights it was hard to go
Oh,
to
I
sleep.
know.
Win or lose, it was
That's
just hard to
right.
go to sleep.
But it's a little easier to go to sleep when you get beat by a good team
Yeah,
that played well against you.
yeah.
They play. It wasn't that we played that badly. They just played.
They were exceptional.
They played very well. Gonzaga did.
We could have played better defense.
True.
We could have identified their three-point shooters
Yeah.
just a little quicker.
They beat us on the fast break.
They beat us every which way.
Oh, and inside
Every
and
which way.
rebound. They were just big inside.
We had no answers that
And they
night.
were well coached.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
one of those days. They played better
That's
than
right.
we did.
So tip of the hat to the Gonzaga,
Yeah.
whatever their names are.
Zags.
Well, I think
Zags.
they're not officially
Bulldogs.
the
They have
Bulldogs.
Bulldogs,
That's what they
yeah.
are.
Okay.
But they've gotten that nickname, the
The
Zags.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope they're going to play UCLA and Steve Alford.
Guess who I'm in favor for?
Yeah, I think we're all in that.
Unanimous.
We're all in that.
We're there. We're
Yeah.
all together.
Bye, Steve. You're going
Yeah.
home
Yeah.
when we're game.
So long.
Yeah, I don't know though. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Anything could happen. You're so
Yeah.
right.
The one thing this tournament lacks now with the Sweet 16 are underdogs, Cinderellas. There aren't any. Maybe Xavier, maybe.
Possibly.
Well,
they've been in the
UCLA would be an
tournament.
underdog as well.
And-
compared.
Is
But they're
Louisville
UCLA.
left?
Louisville's still there.
They could be.
Yeah, they're tough. Yeah.
They slipped by somebody. They had a close call. Doggone it. Who'd they beat?
They beat Northern Iowa.
Maybe Northern
Northern Iowa, that's
Iowa.
it.
They have to play North Carolina State, who upset Villanova.
Yeah, they're a bit of a Cinderella.
Yeah.
And the
They are.
ACC Conference, the Atlantic Coast
Yeah.
Conference, man.
Wow.
I didn't expect all these teams.
I didn't either.
No.
And I thought the Big Ten would be better represented. I sure thought, in my bracket, which is totally gone, I thought that the Big 12 would represent.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
And they-
Iowa State, that was one of the
They've
major
totally laid
surprises.
an egg.
Oh, my God.
Well, Baylor,
Wow. Yeah.
Okie State, I thought they'd show up better. Is Oklahoma still alive?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it for
Yes.
them,
How
right?
about Ohio State?
Ohio
They're
State's
done.
gone.
They're done. Yeah. Just two Big Ten teams,
Yeah.
Murph.
Yeah.
And a lot of-
Wisconsin and Michigan State.
Okay.
Yeah, and people are saying Michigan State could be the surprise.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, this is not the best team that Tom Izzo's ever had.
But it is Tom Izzo.
It's Tom Izzo, it's Michigan State, and they could
finds
get
a way,
to,
doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Amazing.
they could be facing Kentucky here and beat them.
God, I'd love that.
Oh, man.
I want anybody and everybody to
Yeah, everybody wants to see
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I think the whole country.
I think you're right,
anyone
except
but
the
Kentucky.
Bluegrass
It's
State.
a
Yeah.
field against Kentucky.
Yeah. Anyone but Kentucky.
I watched
Yeah.
that Tyler Eulis, who Fran was right in
Mm-hmm.
on, and it just made me sick to think that, we were so close to
We had him.
We had him, and then
What
what's
a
his name
difference.
slipped
One
in.
phone call from Calipari.
Jeez.
One and only phone call. Gone.
Gosh.
Just like that.
Gee.
Yeah, and it happens to a lot of good programs,
For sure.
They've
Yeah.
got somebody locked up, then Calipari calls.
Yeah.
And that's all she wrote.
Somebody needs to steal his cell phone.
Now, on the plus side, the Iowa women's basketball team
Yeah.
had two very convincing victories. Well, the first one wasn't so convincing. They beat American University on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best game they played, but by golly, they overcame a lot of early errors, and they pulled away. I think they won by 7, and then they played a very good Miami team, very athletic, and
Whooped
I
them.
saw those games. Did you see them, Dirk?
I did.
Yeah, they're
It-
great.
that Miami game, the not packed house, but they had 8,000 people there.
I thought they had more than that.
It
personally.
looked like it.
But it did. But maybe it's because they pull those curtains
Yeah.
down or something.
Yeah.
But that was a great crowd.
I thought the Friday game they announced like
That was
4,400
wrong.
people.
That had to be wrong.
It had to be.
That was underreported.
I've been to
On the
enough
radio,
games.
they announced 7,200 and some as official attendance for the Miami
Yeah.
game
Okay.
on
It
Sunday.
sure looked like a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but before they announced the official attendance,
Mm-hmm.
Shelley and Brett, the announcer, they were talking. It looks like almost 9,000 people. So
Yeah, something was screwy.
Yeah.
it's something.
I don't know how
Yeah,
they reported
but it was
that.
still a good crowd. I mean,
First
Great crowd.
Sweet 16 appearance for Lisa Bluter as head coach ever. First time for the Hawkeye women's program in 19 years, since 1996,
That's something.
when Vivian Stringer was here.
That's right.
There's never been a guard here in Iowa like
Like Samantha Logic, yeah. Wow.
Earl, you speak the truth, and when they're done playing, this team is really going to miss her.
Oh.
I mean, it's one thing to have the school's leading three-point shooter graduate, Melissa Dixon. It's another to have Bethany Doolittle leave, who has been a wonderful center and has shown growth every year that she's been here. But Sam Logic brings so much to the court that is hard to define.
Intangibles, isn't it?
Oh, man.
Well, those three girls you just mentioned have scored something like 3,600 points together.
Wow.
In their
it's
careers.
amazing.
They're all 1,000-point plus.
Well, no better indicator was the Big Ten tournament when Sam fouled out.
Yep.
And Lisa just admitted, she said when we lost our leader in overtime, that was probably...
And she probably didn't foul.
And that was a bogus.
Oh, that was...
Oh.
Yeah.
There was a charging call on her, I thought, really
Yeah, I agree.
robbed the team.
That's what I thought.
But
she's just been so fun to watch for 4 years. I think her nickname is Nails because she's tough as nails.
well, think about it. She's in the middle of a game. She's had her tooth broken off.
Yeah.
No, but-
Gone back in the game.
Yeah.
She's had stitches,
Stitches.
a lot of stitches
Yeah.
in her forehead. Gone back in the game. Had the stitches break.
Yeah.
Go back in the game again. She had a knee injury early this season.
Yes.
And not too much was made about
No.
that. But when she came back, she wasn't quite the same. I
You're
don't know if
right.
she was ready. These women are so much fun to watch.
Yes.
They're so well coached, so fundamentally sound. I feel like a broken record because I say this every week.
Again, Lisa has a great staff. It's been with her a long time, and
Yes.
what's this, eight or nine NCAA appearances in a row.
And I'm glad she's not the underdog. She's preaching that.
Yeah, we're not the underdog. Although, look, let's be honest. Baylor, 32-3.
Yes.
I forget how many Sweet 16s in a row they've been to, but it's like
yeah.
8.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
They've got a machine down there, but they did lose to Iowa State this year. So
Yeah.
I can't figure that out. They lose 3 games
Yeah.
all year, and they lost to Iowa State, who was not a
that
good Iowa State team.
Not that. That's right.
And you know what, Disterhoff, she's only 25 or 26 points away from 1,000 points in 2 years.
That's pretty incredible.
And
Yeah.
and that's going into the Baylor game. That's, I mean, if she stays healthy, she's going to go over 2,000 points for her.
I'd love to
career.
see her do that this
That's
year.
pretty
That'd
incredible.
be great, wouldn't it?
Get 25
Yeah.
points
Well,
this
yeah,
week.
go over 1,000 this year, and then work on the next 2 years to get over 2,000. I don't know what her career scoring record is, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood, a little over 2,000.
Probably one of the players that was in Vivian's era. I would
Yes.
guess.
What'd you say?
One of the players in Vivian's era, I would guess, would have the
It had
scoring.
2,100 or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So
Well,
Interesting.
it's been a real treat to watch these 3 seniors on the Iowa women's basketball team compete and improve every single year. Melissa Dixon, all-time three-point scorer in Iowa history, one of the best in the history of the college game. I read something today in the paper, did you see that? That she holds the record in, I think, 7 different Big Ten arenas for most three-pointers made in a
I
game.
didn't see.
oh
Really?
wow,
Yeah.
I didn't realize
That doesn't
that.
surprise me.
Goodness sake,
Isn't that something?
that is something.
She's
yeah.
got such a quick release,
Oh.
and that's the key for a three-point shooter.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Get rid of that ball quickly.
She hit a lot close to the basket.
Doolittle, yeah. They've got a nice inside-out combo.
Yeah,
they do.
You got Sam Logic, who I love it when the ball's in her hands.
I do, too.
Yes.
She's not perfect,
No.
but by golly, she makes things happen. She's not afraid to take that ball right in the middle of the
Yeah.
paint and invite danger and
Mix
then
it
pass
up.
it off
Yep.
and get an assist. She's, as Lisa Bluter likes to say, she's a triple-double
Yeah.
waiting to
Need
happen every
That's right.
game.
Exactly right. Oh,
And,
she's been a thrill to watch. I kept telling people, I said, I wish we could clone her someday.
Oh man.
You know, she's got a sister.
Yeah, who's over at St. Ambrose.
She's
Yeah.
at St. Ambrose, and when they played each other, I looked at the sister and said, she's not Sam.
the same. No.
I think she probably knows it.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
Sam's one of a kind,
Yep.
and it's been a real treat and a real pleasure. And look forward to meeting her later at our luncheon in April. That'll be fun. So they play
Is
the
she
women.
gonna be there?
All the seniors are, according to your son, and maybe the senior men's
I
players
should have
too.
known that.
You're gonna have to pay attention, Murray.
Yeah.
The Hawkeye women will take on Baylor Friday night in Oklahoma City at 6:30. That game will be on ESPN 2, which is nice because most everybody gets that.
Yeah.
If they win that game, whoever wins that game is going to have to play the winner of Notre Dame and Stanford.
That'll be a clash.
On Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday night, 7:30 is that game.
Okay.
Pick your poison.
Exactly.
We know how good Notre Dame
Oh, my
is.
gosh.
And we know Stanford's a perennial women's power.
Every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's 2 losses, one of which was to Miami this year.
Really?
Oh,
I
it was?
was looking at that great program they make for the NCAA. I was looking through the records, and I saw that, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. Miami, who we played.
Must have been in Miami.
It was in Miami.
Yeah.
But you could see Miami had some athletes. My goodness, they had some athletes. Oh,
They really did. And I thought at the beginning of the game,
I was
we're getting
nervous
out muscled.
myself.
They had an
Yes.
attitude, too.
They did.
Yes,
they
they
brought
did.
it.
Yes, they
Their
did.
coach had an attitude,
Yes.
not in a bad way.
No.
That look on her face, though, I thought, man, I would not want to get on her bad
I
side.
bet
wouldn't
she's sort
either.
of pretty.
What's that?
I bet she's pretty if she smile once in a while.
Yeah, maybe if she smiled. You know who was
Hard
pretty?
to smile when you're behind her.
That coach for American University.
Oh my
She
word.
was,
I'm not going to
yeah.
go there on that one.
She was really striking.
Yes.
Especially what
She looked great.
Yes.
So anyway, Friday night,
I didn't
6:30, the women will take on Baylor, perennial power Baylor. Now we're going to talk a little bit about wrestling. Last weekend was the NCAA wrestling tournament in St. Louis, Missouri, or as Father Bob used to say, St. Louis, Missouri.
Or as Bob Boyd says, a state of misery.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though you're a Cardinal fan, guys, I mean, it's still the state of misery.
Well, it was a state of misery for the Hawkeye wrestling team.
Yep, it was.
Yeah, on the plus side, they finished second in the team race, and that's higher than they've finished in 4 years. On the plus side, Penn State didn't win the whole
True.
thing for the first time in 5 years.
Yeah.
On the downside, Ohio State won the whole thing. I mean, points-wise, it was close, but Ohio State had it wrapped up Saturday morning before the evening championship
That's right.
rounds.
That's right.
What was the point differential? You remember?
Was it 8, 10
8
points?
to 10 or something like that. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, but they just the difference is that Ohio State, much like in the Big Ten tournament, overachieved. They out-wrestled
They
the
did.
seeds that they were given,
They did.
and the Hawkeyes did not.
You have to do that too.
Yeah.
Church, I'm anxious to get to Shankster.
We will.
Just don't
Well,
spend much
we've
time.
got a lot of time left.
Well, not that much.
What we got left there, James? Probably 35, 30. Yeah.
That's right. We just spent a lot of time on that.
The difference with the Hawkeye wrestlers is that the big difference was the seniors just didn't show up. This was, when they were recruited, the top recruiting class in the nation, and not one of them won an NCAA title. We didn't get a single Big Ten title out of any of them this year.
It's really disappointing because that national championship was there for the taking.
It was.
Yeah.
This was the year.
If they'd have wrestled even up to par a little
The
bit.
freshman didn't wrestle well. If he'd have wrestled well,
Well,
But somebody like Nick Moore,
Yeah.
these young men work very hard. But he I think hit the wall this year.
he's got an injury.
He's got an injury. Okay.
And they never talked about it, but I
Okay.
talked to some of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
I felt
He's got a
badly for
back
him.
injury.
That would tell you, that would make it right there.
And you could just tell this year, he'd get somebody,
Yeah.
and he'd
Just
grab
couldn't
them,
finish.
and then he couldn't finish.
Yeah.
You knew something
felt
was
badly
wrong.
for him.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
No points for him
Is
or
he-
Mike Kelly.
Right.
what's his grade? I mean, what?
He's a
grade?
senior. He's
That's what I
done.
thought.
Yeah.
Wrestled at what, 165, right?
165.
Bobby Telford never got a
Oh.
title. Top ranked heavyweight in high school. Never won a title here.
A lot of good heavyweights again.
Mike Evans.
Let's talk. Don't talk a long time about this, but their style is so much different than it used to be.
Yes.
And I think that it drives me crazy as a wrestling fan to watch the way we wrestle anymore, and I think it does the Brands brothers too. And it's all of wrestling now. They just don't take any move. Dan Gable, I'm sure, is glad he's
yes.
not coaching anymore because
Yes.
the style
Yeah.
is not indicative of what wrestling should be about, and it just it's not entertaining at all.
not.
It's more defensive as opposed to
It
aggressive,
it
offensive
is.
kind of.
Well,
yeah.
and often what happens in tournament settings is that somebody will score in the first period and then do nothing the rest of the
nothing.
period.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll ride, they'll stall, they'll do whatever they can not to get
Exactly.
caught.
Exactly.
And
Well-
we talked about it just a couple weeks ago on the show. Something has to change in collegiate wrestling.
Right.
There's too much wrestling on the edge, too many people
Yes.
fleeing the mat.
That's right.
Stalling isn't called when it should be. Basically, stalling is rewarded right now. It's just the way
You're right.
the wrestling has evolved, and something's got to change. And the Hawkeye wrestlers, we're so used to the Gable style of
Right.
being aggressive and physical and just relentless.
Well, if you listen to Mark
nobody liked
Ironside
it.
on the radio, it drives him crazy.
It does.
You know that,
He's, I
yeah,
love
that we're
listening
not.
to him.
How many
aggressive.
takedowns do we have?
I don't know. Not enough. Not nearly
near
enough.
enough.
And not nearly enough first period takedowns, which is a big
Yeah.
bone of contention for
Sure.
for Coach Brands.
Yeah.
So it's over. They got second. It's
Most teams
hard.
would love to have second.
Yeah.
wouldn't they?
That is
Yeah.
correct.
And it's hard to complain about second
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't get any trophies the last couple of years. And the unfortunate thing is next year, Penn State's going to be much better. Ohio State is going to be just as good, if not better. And Oklahoma State is going to be tough. I'm assuming Minnesota
Yes.
will be. But you
And
know,
we had no individual champions, which is
yeah.
unusual.
Or Big Ten champions either.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
Very,
That's just
very unusual.
Tom Ryan made a very good point from Ohio State, and I like Tom Ryan.
Yeah.
He's a former Iowa wrestler. He said that when you look at 20, 25 years ago when there was many more programs, and now you've shrunk to 70-some programs.
77 programs.
So there's a lot of wrestlers out there, and so everybody's
Oh, yeah.
vying for these elite wrestlers now.
Yeah.
So the talent level is going to be
I wonder if that West
much
kid,
tougher to get, huh?
West kid from Highlands, isn't it? He was a state champion, Iowa state champion. His senior.
West High?
No, his
From
name
Highlands.
was West.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not aware.
Okay. They had a picture in the paper of him. He's life size. So.
I don't know what's going to happen there, Earl.
Okay.
There's a lot more parity,
Oh yes.
and
Sure
just like
is,
John
yeah.
said, fewer collegiate programs, but a lot of high school programs, and
Really are.
and this year was a perfect example of the parity.
Oh,
Yeah.
And the other thing too, in the National Wrestling Tournament, a lot of the higher seeds got beat early,
I know it.
and a lot of the lower seeds progressed and won.
All right.
That kid that beat the Iowa kid, he was. I think he was ranked 10th or something.
Oh, the beat Corey Clark was 13.
That's that Clark.
Oh.
How they seated him like
13.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, there were some funky seating
There really was.
this year. You got to give credit to Kyvan Gadsden from Iowa State,
Yes.
a senior. He
That's right.
Not only did he win a championship, but he did it emphatically with a pin. And then he announced he's done wrestling. He's
And
not going to
he's
do
from
Olympics.
Waterloo.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that what he said?
Yeah.
Really, Dirk? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
This is a kid who a year ago, his dad died just before the NCAA wrestling tournament. I think before the tournament, but he died during the season.
Right.
And his dad was a former Iowa State wrestler.
Willie Gadsden.
Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a good one. Real
Yeah,
good
oh,
one.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, good for him.
Boy, he had muscles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd love to see a guy like him on the Iowa wrestling team. A guy that's
Yes.
defined and sculpted and
Yes.
goes out there and makes things happen.
Exactly.
Thank God for Gary Kurlemeyer. He got Gable.
Yep.
Oh,
That
boy.
changed everything. That changed the landscape
for
of
sure.
collegiate
That's
wrestling.
right.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And Roy Carver, right?
And, Roy Carver.
Come on.
So, okay, we're going to talk. Earl wants to talk, and I do too.
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
hear you guys talk about Jim Sangster. I didn't know Jim personally, but I sure knew him and knew of him. John, you were a close friend of
Yes.
Jim's. Jim died Sunday?
Saturday, the 21st,
Yeah.
I believe.
Tell us a little bit about Jim Sangster.
Well, he had a long history in this community. He was a star athlete at City High School. He played on a state football and basketball championship team, starter.
And at quarterback.
And it was a quarterback. just a little sidebar, his grandson, Zach Grabinski, was quarterback on the 2 state championship teams in the 90s.
Yeah, at City High.
At City High.
Yeah.
And they were both left-handed, which was interesting. Jim was left-handed, Zach was left-handed.
And Jim's son-in-law played basketball for the Hawkeyes. Ken Grabinski.
Ken Grabinski, that's correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is a tree there. There's that family tree. And
And didn't Jim play quarterback for the Hawkeyes?
yes, Jim was and it was a Kinnick scholar. Jim was just one of these people. Was one of the finest gentlemen that I ever had the opportunity to become involved with, and his dedication to his high school and his community was just unparalleled. I mean, he did so many things that were understated. Jim did not look for the glory. That wasn't Jim Sangster. And I mean, he started the Alumni Association at City High 20-some years ago. Has been on it ever since then. He did, interestingly enough, for years he did the sideline chains, and which I've done for 20 years with his son Bob. They finally Bob had to retire his dad several years ago because but Jim was 85 or 6 years old, so he's lived a very full life and a very productive life, and his impact on City High School overall is going to be hard to ever replicate. You don't find people with that spirit of volunteerism that he exhibited all these years. I mean, a lot of people, when their kids are in school and get real active, he not only did it for his children, his grandchildren, but he did it beyond that.
Before and after.
Yeah, and I would
Yeah.
sit with him at many athletic events. He and I were at volleyball, boys and girls basketball. I mean, we did the whole 9 yards. And Jim was there. He was a presence. I mean, I'll never be able to duplicate what he's done as far as attendance. I mean, he was there practically every game. Baseball, he was down at Mercer Park. He occupied that top row behind the home plate. He was there every game. The new hitting facility that they have at City High School, he was one of those. Well, his daughter Patty was kind of the lead in getting all the fundraising for that and coordinated that. And when they dedicated it, Jim threw the first pitch inside, which was
Perfect.
which was great.
Strike?
Strike. Oh yeah. I said to him, I said, you must have been practicing this. So, and
He might have been.
yeah, but he threw a good one. So, but he was so involved with the high school as far as promoting the high school. And it wasn't about him, it was about the school. And, there's a tradition that we've had banner carriers at graduation for 20-some years. And he was the one that would always get those people of their various classes. I've done it for many years. And kind of an interesting story, we were at the last City High girls basketball game. It was a tournament game, their very last game of the season. And this was right when Jim had found out about his illness, and I had not been aware of this. And I was sitting in front of him, and he leaned over to me and said, "Can you be a banner carrier for this graduation?" I thought, well, of course, I will, Jim. I thought it was kind of unusual he'd ask me. Well, here he was thinking about the banner carry and who was going to take care of that at graduation. Well, we'll miss him at that graduation, obviously, and I'm hoping that there'll be some recognition.
There sure ought to be.
Yeah, I know there's some discussion, I think, going on now about various ways to.
A scholarship, maybe?
Well, that would be one. There is an award that is given every year to the the volunteer alum of the year that was named and put in his name. That happens generally there's a dinner that honors the Hall of Fame inductees every year, which I've gone to, and every year. So I don't know if I know that'll continue, but.
So that's in Jim's name now?
That is in Jim's name now. He was
Yeah.
the first recipient of it. You could imagine.
Very
He was
fitting.
Yeah,
Very
he should
fitting.
be, 'cause
And
when you think of City High, you think of Jim first.
there's no question.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Dirk asked you, did he play football for Iowa?
He did.
I think he got sick,
He
right?
got hurt, didn't he?
No, he was sick.
Did he
Yeah,
get
I'm not sure about that.
mononucleosis or something?
What?
Yeah, I don't know about that. You may be right. I don't know that history that
Yeah.
well in that regard. All I know
Bet
is
Earl does.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think he played. He was sick.
Yeah. Okay. You're probably right.
I think I am.
He was on one of the few that was on the state football and basketball
Yes.
championship at
Yeah.
City High.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think anyone
His
else has
dad-
ever done that, have
No.
they?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what, in the, first of all, when I think of Jim Sangster, I think of a true gentleman.
Yes.
And for the last several years at Monday Morning Quarterback Club Luncheon, he sat right across the table from me.
Yes.
And we had some nice conversations. You know, he just always handled himself very well. He was always very friendly, and you know, and what he's done for City High as far as leadership and being there, as John has explained, is legendary. And I thought the article in the paper yesterday, I believe, was excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it listed all of his accomplishments, not just as his involvement with City High, but his involvement in the community and his, you know, and at the First
Absolutely.
National Bank, you know, which is now U.S. Bank.
Did you
I mean,
do any business with him, either of you guys,
Yes.
at First National Bank?
We did.
A little bit, but mostly I was at another bank. But if I'd have been doing business at that bank, I mean, Jim was one of the 2 or 3 people. They had some good people there, as you know,
Bob
John.
Sirk.
And
Very
I was
good.
you
gonna
had
say
Bob
Bob
Sirk, and you had Jim Sangster, and you had Bob Leonards, and Paulie Mosk, and you know, Tom Stockman. I mean, they had one heck of a group.
Good
there.
leadership team.
A leadership team, yeah. And
I
Jim
just
was a
have-
big
had-
part of that.
Had a thought.
Yeah,
Jim went. I think he graduated from Iowa.
yeah.
He went to the Air Force, and his mother and dad would come over to our house about once a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we say we're going to play bridge or something, and we'd have one hand. It was laying on the table, and we were talking.
Yeah.
And we talk and talk and talk, and
People don't do that anymore.
no, he was this. He said that I was Jim Sangster.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's what my dad said.
Um,
And,
I've got an interesting story too to tell you guys. When I was a little tyke, until I was about 5.5 years old, my parents rented a duplex on, I think it was North Lynn Street, and let's see, is Lynn the one that's a block east of Dubuque, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and there's a big alley that goes down Dubuque Street there, and we were on one side of the alley, and the Phillips family was on the other side, and there was
yeah,
Professor Phillips,
Yeah.
Phillips Hall.
Oh, really?
Dr. Phillips was dean of the law school, and he was kind of a buddy of mine,
No, he
because
was-
he'd
he-
walk home, and I'd
no,
walk
it
across
wasn't
the
a
alley.
law school.
Or I mean, the business
Business
school.
school.
And I'd walk across the alley, and I'd sit on the porch with him. And I actually remember that. So I couldn't have been older than 5 or 5.5, and then we moved. But Jim Sangster reminded me several years ago, he said, "Do you remember my wife, Jackie Phillips?
Oh,
You
really?
remember that she babysat for you when you were a little guy?"
There you go, Bob.
And I had forgotten that.
Yeah.
And Jim reminded me of that at one of the quarterback
Yeah.
club deals. We were laughing about it.
Jim's wife babysat you.
Yes,
And
when
she was the daughter
probably
of
in high school or
Dr.
college,
Phillips.
early
Yeah.
college, and Jim had started dating her then when they were dating in college, maybe high school, I don't know, and so he reminded me of that. I thought that was kind of an interesting little
Very
tidbit that I had forgotten about.
Well,
so
Earl, you have a personal story with Jim Sangster, too. Your son, Joe, told me that the two of you, I think after high school, used to play in a basketball league together.
Basketball? No, not basketball. Oh,
What did you guys
we
play
played
together?
softball together.
oh, okay,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes. And we won a lot of games.
I'll bet you.
Yeah,
He looked, even in old age, Jim looked like an athlete.
yeah.
He was.
Carried himself like an athlete.
I think he weighed the same.
He had
when
a
passed
brother.
away as when he was playing.
I believe it.
It was. You're right. He just. he
His
looked good.
brother was a good basketball player.
Bill.
Bill.
Yeah.
He played with Danner, Sullivan.
Was his
Bill
brother older?
Murph than Jim then?
No, he was young. He was
Younger?
older. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
He was
okay.
okay.
He played 41. I think us.
Okay.
Did
yeah.
Bill
43 maybe.
live here in Iowa City then after school?
He's,
Or?
most of his
He
life,
went-
he was a
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, and he was an engineer.
Yes.
And
Wasn't he a faculty representative on for the athletic
Yes.
department too?
Yes,
I
he
think
was.
down
Yeah.
at Georgia Tech. I think
Really?
and he
yeah.
was smart, really
Oh.
smart.
I remember when the City High field, which they don't play on anymore, baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
The Sangsters were very intimately involved in donating to when they rehabilitated it up there at that time. You know, they did a number of things, and Bill came back. The Shankster family gave a significant contribution, and Bill came back and spoke, as did Jim, and it was quite moving because they did it in honor of their father,
Yes.
Earl, who started the baseball program at City High.
Yes, he did.
And
I didn't know that.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
And how many years ago was that?
Well, let's see.
He was
now.
president of the school board.
It was eight. When was that? That was
Well,
early
Jim graduated in
1900s.
Yeah, I was going to say it had to be 100
47.
years ago.
What's that?
Jim graduated in 1947,
That's
so
right.
it would have been before that, I assume.
Yes. It was in the early 1900s.
Well, he's
Oh,
same
that
age.
early, okay.
He's same age as my mom then.
Yeah.
86. Well, tell us a little more about the Sangster family. Where did they grow up here?
Austin, Texas.
Minnesota.
Austin, Minnesota.
Oh, that's
That's
right.
right.
That's
Yeah.
right. And then they moved here?
Yes.
How old was Jim when the Sangster family moved from Minnesota?
It's a
Do you know,
good
John?
question. I don't know.
About
Yeah.
12 years old.
He was.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
about junior
Is
high
that what-
age.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, another interesting thing in the paper that was interesting to me is, you know, he was freshman when he's president of his freshman class in high school,
Right.
and president of the student body probably when he was a senior. I mean, that shows early leadership, really,
And commitment.
and commitment, and it also
Yes.
shows respect from your peers.
And he had
That elect you.
He had that certainly
Yeah.
tenfold. That's
Yeah,
no
I mean, he
question about
carried
it.
himself
Oh, yeah.
so well as
Yeah.
a gentleman.
Yeah, he was a gentleman. That's right.
Yeah,
he was
I
very
mean-
loyal. You know, that's the other
Yeah.
thing. A word you don't hear much about people anymore, but loyalty. And he was
Yes.
he was very patriotic.
You all say it in 47, and he was every year he was walking the halls of City High.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just continually.
Oh yeah.
And John, you said it earlier, you don't see that kind of loyalty to your high school these days. You do when somebody's got kids
Yeah.
in school,
Yeah.
That's right.
but not before and after the kids. You just don't see that.
No.
That's exactly right. But he
That's
But you know what? John is right about that, but I think you see it more in this community than you do in others, maybe some. I mean, they've got a lot of very loyal supporters at City High, and I know several of them, and Regina the same way. and
Tommy Brandt at Regina,
Yeah, the
and you've
Brandt
got
family. I mean, there's just a
what's
lot
his
of
name
people that
at West High. You've got he
work
built-
real hard.
Tom Lepic.
Lepic,
Tom Lepic, thank you. I
Yeah,
drawn a blank
yeah,
there.
been
He's done
very
an
loyal.
awful lot. He brought a football field to West
Yeah.
High.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
pretty
This
amazing.
community has been blessed with a lot of great support.
It has.
Tell us about Jim Sangster's family here in Iowa City.
Well, many of you know Bob is their youngest son, and Bob's been in real estate for a number of years. Bob and I have mentioned earlier, he and I do sideline change together
Yep.
at
Yeah.
football games. And Bob's kind of the crew chief, so we follow his lead. And his daughter, Patty Grabinski, which you mentioned, Ken, Patty she's like her dad. She's very well organized, and she'll take a task on immediately if she's asked, especially if it's involves City High. And they had the most recent campaign to build the indoor hitting facility. She was it. Brian Mitchell tapped her to do it because he knew that he and Zach Grabinski were high school classmates, great friends, and he knew if there was one person that could lead that effort, she was the one.
Well, didn't Zach play baseball for Iowa?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
I think he was the one that brought the end to the Dwayne Banks era around, if
Kinda.
I'm not mistaken. And I say that in an affectionate way. It needed to end.
Yes.
And
What happened?
there was a little incident out in right field, the way I remember
Yeah,
it. Dwayne didn't, I don't know, he didn't like something, and I think he choked Zach.
Oh.
It was
not pretty.
not a good scene.
No.
No, and that was pretty much the end of Dwayne.
But he was all-state in football and
Yeah.
and baseball, wasn't he,
Yeah,
Zach?
yeah.
Of Jim's grandson,
Yes.
Patty's.
So he and
grandson.
Brian played baseball at City High and University.
And
Yes.
Iowa, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Both of them really good baseball
Very
players.
good baseball
Yes.
players.
Yeah.
He was the first baseman,
That's
Yeah.
right.
Who was?
Jim.
Jim?
Jim was. So,
Zach was.
So was Zach.
Yeah.
And-
But it,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, some pretty good athletic genes in that
Genes,
family,
yeah,
I should
yeah.
say.
And Jim's wife's name?
Jackie.
Jackie. Okay.
Yeah.
She's just a lovely person.
Yes.
I've just and I've got a lot of affection, obviously, for both. But she is
Yes.
those two. What a team!
Well-
what a duo!
And how fitting that his memorial service is going to be held at the old City High
Yeah.
gym.
Yes,
It is
Yes.
appropriate.
That's just the
that's
way it
what
should be.
That's what we said too. I mean,
Yeah.
he would.
Plenty of seats out there.
But yeah, they'll need him.
Yeah, there'll be quite a
Quite a crowd.
quite a crowd. You're
Yeah.
right about that. Yeah.
Well, our condolences go out to the Sangster family. It's a real loss for you and a real loss for our community and for City High. But what a tribute to a great man and one of the last of the true gentlemen. We lost another one of those yesterday. Reverend Robert Holzhammer died, affectionately known to generations of Hawkeye fans as Father Bob, the voice of the Hawkeyes on the PA system at Kinnick Stadium in the old field house. Did Father Bob work at Carver Hawkeye? Did he?
I think he started there.
I think he
Yeah.
did too.
82, and I don't know when his career ended there, but yes, he did.
Yeah.
He's been retired for quite a while, but he was there.
Well, I hadn't seen him either, just like Jim
Yeah.
Sangster. Hadn't seen him all year at the Monday Morning Quarterback Club. And was really surprised to find out that he died. But he was 92. I think he was your age,
I think
Earl.
so.
No, I'm 91.
You're 91. Okay, so Father Bob was older than you?
Yes, he was old man.
Father, rest in peace.
Yeah,
yes.
Father, chalk one up to Earl there.
Yeah.
You know, today on social media, that's how I found out about Father Bob was on social media. And it's all
Yeah.
over the place. Father Bob's gone.
Yeah.
And again, much like Jim Sangster, he impacted generations in this community. In fact, with Father Bob, generations throughout the state.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
You never heard his name. You know, he never said, "This is Father Bob"
Right.
on the
You
PA.
sure recognized that voice, though, didn't you?
And I can still
Yes.
remember
Yeah.
Can't you though? Oh,
he would say, instead of Cincinnati, it was Cincinnati or Missouri.
yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he come from Clinton, Iowa?
I don't know.
I don't know, Earl.
I think he did.
I'm not sure.
As,
I don't
as
know.
the priest.
So he was an Iowa boy, huh?
He was an
Yeah.
Episcopalian. You know, they called
Yeah.
him priests.
Yeah, he wore the
Yeah.
the turned around
Yeah.
collar, as they call it.
Now, his church was at the one on Gilbert and
College.
Yep,
College.
Gilbert
Sure.
College.
Yes.
I'd only been
Right
to
on the
one
corner.
service there, and it's beautiful inside.
It
Yes.
is.
yeah,
It's
John
the
Steve's
one
an
that's
Episcopalian.
is he?
yeah.
He was an altar boy.
Was he?
I think he was.
Well, I know that his church, the Episcopalian Church, is if this goes through one of those new buildings downtown, that,
Chauncey Plaza.
at Chauncey Plaza, it's going to literally cast a shadow on the Episcopalian Church. They're not going to be able to get the sunlight through their stained
Is
glass
that right?
windows. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal if
Yeah,
you
they're
remember
kind of
that
fighting
church.
that legally, aren't they? Isn't
Oh,
there
yeah.
a group
Oh,
that's
yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to?
There's
Huh.
always the group.
Well,
Yeah. So.
So we'll see how that goes, but-
that never happens in Iowa City.
No.
yeah. Father Bob.
Right, John?
That's exactly right.
He'd call him Mayor.
The mayor.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Yeah, ex-mayor right over there.
Has
Yeah.
been.
I can remember him. I can remember Father Bob on the PA at the old field house,
So can I.
and he'd say, "No smoking inside the field house.
Yeah.
Smoking allowed in like a concourse or
Right,
Was it a
exactly.
concourse? I think
Yeah.
that's what he'd say. He was, and he was a character too, wasn't he?
He
Yes.
really was.
Tell
Yeah.
us a few
Good
Father
sense of
Bob
humor.
stories here.
Yeah.
We've got about 5 minutes left.
Well, I remember the old fieldhouse specifically. He used to say, "Let's give a warm Hawkeye welcome." And I think Lute Olson finally, got the word to him. He didn't want to have Father Bob giving such a warm Hawkeye welcome to the visiting team. And that's the way he was, you know.
Yeah.
But he was, I think he was a true Iowan.
Yes.
Because, you know, Iowans are nice people.
That's
until you
true.
give us a reason not to like you.
That's right. Yeah.
You know?
Bob Knight liked him, you know, and he called him the Padre.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Earl, tell us a good Father Bob story.
I should know it, but I don't know a thing.
Yeah.
I used to have,
When did you first meet him?
I don't know, I suppose in Bremer's. He'd come up to the room. He did that so many times. He and, who's the guy, he has a statue on
Irving Weber.
Irving Weber and Father Bob. They were two of my best friends.
Yeah.
They'd come in the store and what's new? What's new? You know, they were both out.
Give us some dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go up
Gossip.
in your perch up there.
Well, Bremer's was the hub of,
Oh, yeah.
of
yeah.
Hawk
yes.
activity for
That's right.
decades.
That's right.
And I'll just remind the viewers that
Hawkeye
Earl
Central.
owned and ran Bremer's.
So we had 6 stores.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
The zipper, I remember the zipper.
Yeah.
2 zippers,
Yeah.
Yeah,
4 Bremers.
yeah. That was the heyday.
The heyday, that's
And,
right.
and Father Bob was a part of the heyday for
Yes,
the Hawkeyes.
that's
The
right.
best years when Hayden was here, when Lute was here, when Ralph Miller was here. He was here
I
when.
can remember one story about him. He wanted to, what was he? It was a public, what?
Public address announcer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to organize one, a standing, you know, all the Big Ten announcers would get together, and Bob took care of that. He said no.
I wonder what all the Big Ten announcers would do if they were together.
I don't know.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome everybody.
Exactly. I remember I was president of Quarterback Club the year of the 9/11, 2001, and I'd asked Father Bob to come up and lead us in a prayer and sang God, and he led him God Bless America. That was really touching the way
yes.
he handled it, and just, you know, that was his character.
Was that 01?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember best, I think, him in the old field house, and with my
Oh, yeah.
recollection,
Yes.
because
That's
you know,
special.
at the stadium they're not visible
I can remember.
in the press box, but you know, in the old field house, you know, you just look up in the press section, or there he was. I mean, by the court there.
He got his job. Bump, I think, hired him.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he gave him. He'd call him and say, "Why don't you be the announcer tonight?"
That's interesting.
And-
That is
and,
interesting.
I didn't know that.
So he wouldn't have been here for the Ralph Miller era then.
Well, yeah, Bump came here in '70.
Yep.
But Ralph
Ralph coached
left
that '70 team.
Yeah, that's right. Ralph left.
69, 70.
Yeah.
That might have been it. Was that his last year, John?
Yes, it was.
And then he went to Oregon?
Yeah.
Oregon
Okay.
State.
He gave Bob a job after he.
Well, he made a good choice,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Episcopalian? Did he go to services
Well,
there?
he's a
Presbyterian? Okay. Well, I hate to say it, guys, but we've run out of time. We're going to be back in a couple weeks. We'll run this show for a couple weeks. We're going to bring Pat Hardy back the next time we have a show, and he's going to have some special announcements to make that are pretty exciting. It's been a fun-filled basketball and wrestling season. It's hard to be disappointed with any of it, and we've still got the women alive. So Friday night, 6:30, ESPN2, tune in and pull for the women. Love to see a big upset there, and I don't care if Lisa Bluter doesn't think it will be. It will be.
Yes.
And nothing would make me or any of us here happier. I want to thank James Mims for running camera and lights in Joe Murphy's absence. I want to thank John Balmer for being here. John is
Thank you.
a long time with Plumber Supply here in Iowa City. It's just been a real treat to have you here. And again, condolences to the Shankster family and to the Holzhammer family. The community's lost 2 great icons here in just a few short amount of days. But their legacy lives on, and for that we're grateful. And we're grateful that you tune in here to Sports Opinion every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Channel 18. You can catch a rerun of the show every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Or you can go to patv.tv and catch all of our episodes there. Or you can go to my Facebook page, and I've got them there as well. So on behalf of Bob Boyd and Earl Murphy and John Balmer, I'm Dirk Keller, thanking you for watching. And remember this, either you're a Hawk or you're not. Go Hawks! Whip those Baylor Bears good.
Amen.
And I was going to say something about the NCAA swing.